So hey y'all, we are going to make this video real quick because I'm trying to do 2 videos today. This eye look I will post. This is kind of like my take on how to do color without going all the way in. Let me know what y'all think. I think it's kind of cute, huh? You know, just something a little different for the people that want to try to start to wear color, but you're not sure which direction to go in. And the palette that I used was the Jaclyn Hill one. Because I think most of you all have that palette or something similar to that. So that's why I use that one. But that's not what we're here for today. We are actually here to talk about the ranking of my Juvia's Place palette. This was very, very hard for me to do. So, yeah. Because I really love Juvia's Place. I really love them all. But you guys asked for it, so here it goes. There are 13 of them. I think that's all she has is 13. 1, 2, 3. Yes, 13. So the first one we're going to start off with, hopefully you guys know me and you know that this palette, the Saharan 2 by Juvia's, is my favorite. And let me tell you why it's my favorite. Even though I cracked one of the shades originally, it's still enough in there. As you can tell, I have hit pan on the bottom 3. But also, you guys know I love a pop of color. And you can do a copper look out of here. You can do, this is just like it's more universal than you think. And you could actually smoke out your, do a smoky look with this combination of shades. These for crease shades, yeah, that's why this makes this one of my favorite. And you guys know I love a good bright inner corner. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's add a little bit of that in here today. Right here. On top of this here, look. And kind of bring it around to the circular part. So, yeah. So, yeah, that opened it up just a little bit more, right, girl? So, this is why I love this palette, because it gives me a lot to be able to work with. I know it doesn't seem like it, you know, with those shades, but I am here for it, and you can just do so much with this palette unsuspectedly. But for my darker skin sisters, this, and even a lot my of a lighter hue sisters, this just gives you to me a great range for your crease shade, and to be able to build it up, and the pigmentation. You guys know how I feel about Juvia's Place. I'm trying not to spend so much time, but that's one reason why this is going to be my number 1. I start off my number 1 because I always want to start off on the positive. The second one I'm going in with as my number 2 is the Warrior 2 by Juvia's Place. I love this palette because of the neutral shades in it, but they are so chocolate girl friendly, and the crease shades and your transitional shades, and being able to do a smoky. I'm telling you, I have really been enjoying this palette. I probably will be hitting pan soon on these shades in the center, because that's what I've been using to kind of sometimes build out my crease or whatever. But being able to do a smoke out of this one, a neutral, just to put a little bit of something in the crease. And then this black down here, one of my favorites. And if you don't want to go so black, you have the option of going in with that kind of dullish brown gray shade. Look at that pigmentation, y'all. That, you cannot, for the price too, you just cannot beat that. So that's why this is my number 2. I use it. The third palette is gonna be the Festival by Juvia's Place. Now, for me, you know that I love color, and look at this color story in here. I know it looks weird, but these shades right here, this red, that peach, and that pink, oh my God, those shades together are just stunning. And once again, she added in a pop of color. But this shade right here, do not be deceived. That gray Kaliki, that is beautiful. And then maybe to put a little bit of spark on top of that for a night out. Yes, and this red is probably one of the most pigmented reds ever. And that's why it's one of my favorites. And you guys saw me do a video on this bright orange. Yeah, I just want to play with that. I still think, yes, yes, yes. So that's why it makes it as my number 3. The Festival. I've used this just as much. Coming in at number 4, I know this might be a little bit of a shocker, is the Tribe palette. I am a sucker for green. I am so in love with this palette already. It has slowly just become one of my favorites. I find myself reaching for this sand shade, and you guys know my inner corner I have been using is this yellow shade. I have been using that a lot here lately just to give me a pop of color. And once again, you guys know how I do. So like if you just really want to brighten something up, automatically gives you that brightness. I'm just layering on because the greens, it's just my, and don't let this white shade, gold shade deceive you. That is like a yellow gold shade. Let me see if I can swatch it. Like a greeny gold, and it's beautiful. I'm here for it. This coming in at number 5, we have Juvia's the Zulu palette. This is probably her most colorful one, but the thing that I like about this palette is the purple. The mattes in here are beautiful on our skin. Something about the way she's able to get the tones really right for us. So like even this little turquoisey shade, just look at how that plays on the eye. You know, it's just, I don't know, I just love it. And it's these shimmers, look at that. You cannot, in this purple, the purples are very hard to pull off, but that is one of my favorite purples to be able to use. And then when I don't want to do, if I want some color, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, this yellow shade all over the lid. Thank me later. Okay, so this is gonna be, let's see, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're at 6. So this palette right here is the Masquerade by Juvia. So when I first got this palette, y'all, I was so in love with this palette because it did so much for my life. This is the bigger paying one. I think this only comes in the mini now, but these shades, yeah, at this top, and to be able to go from top to maybe something a little more neutral friendly if that's what you were looking for, but you guys know I'm never really looking for that. I kind of want to do this shade called Bora as an outer corner one day just to show y'all, because Bori, I think that's Bori. I think a lot of the shades we have, it may not necessarily, you know, like I'm not going to get the Riviera palette anytime soon because I feel like, and if I do get it, I just want to see if I can dupe it out of Juvia's place. That's going to be my goal. But, and this purple, y'all, you cannot beat that. So mixing that purple and that a matte purple down there, you cannot beat that. That is one of the better combos, I'm telling y'all. So look at all this steel on my finger. And if you kind of want to do neutrals and, you know, not really want to, I think this is a little more versatile than people think. If it had a black in it, this probably would be a go-to palette for me because I like color, but I also like to do some neutral looks. But and I just think that this provides all of that. Just having to pull in a black though. The next one is going to be Afro-Cute by Juvia's Place. If you are into color like I am, then yes, I am going to put this one right here, right after that Masquerade, because what that allows you to do is be able to take these mattes that she put in here and well-developed mattes to be able to mix that with some of those shimmers, those brighter shimmers, if you need to be able to blend them really into your crease. So I'm really glad she came out with this palette because those primary colors is what we like to call them, like that blue, that orange, that Niger, that kind of Cameroon, that shade right there is a great crease shade, by the way. Those are pretty much all you would need. And if you wanted to deepen your crease, you could go in with that little burgundy shade or do this shade, that shade. It's just a lot of possibilities. I think this is what I put this in the middle because I feel like this is a great pairing between whatever else you own and then, you know, whatever else you add after this palette is the way I see this one, because those primary colors, those primary mattes, you cannot ever go wrong. So right behind it, I'm going to go with the Saharan 2 palette because it provides 2 things. Well, really 3 things. This black in here, this Chad, is so it was probably one of the blackest, one of the better blacks. You know, it was easier to work with. So if you need to build up your black and not go so heavy hand, that's gonna be that shade. But this shade up here called Wodabe, this green gold shade, oh, nothing to play with. That is simply stunning and worth this palette alone. But to be able to, if you're be able to kind of get that orange in your crease, that brighter orange, and then blend it out with this shade, yes. Especially what I think you should do is do a smoky, blend it out with that shade, and then put that green color right there in the center. This is why I'm putting this one right here, because of the black that's in her. It's a buildable black. I am placing this one next, the Warrior by Juvia's Place. I like this palette. I think this palette is simply beautiful and stunning, but especially if you are into those neutral shades, I'm kind of okay with them. But if I want to do a neutral look with just some shimmer, this is the palette I pull out. And because it's not the same, like I have swatched a lot of these thinking, oh, that's the same as no, they're not. Just like all nudes are not created equal, not all shimmers that have these goldy bronzy hues. She does something extra to make sure that the variation is there. So if you ever get a chance to just start swatching your shimmers, they're not going to be the same. And depending on the tone and what direction you're trying to go in that day, I think she has you covered. And that's why I'm putting this one here, because it does actually kind of meet those expectations for people who like to do like what they call a copper eye. You know, this is definitely, look at this. I'm trying to see if I can swatch it. You can't get any more coppery than that. And it's beautiful. It's okay. So for me, I'm putting the Magic palette right here only because, whoa. I like this palette, but I like it for different reasons. I like it for the pops of color and the neutrality of it. But I also think what it does for people who may not necessarily want to do blacks is she gives us a navy, that's hard, a navy and a darker purple to be able to play in our outer, or if you want to smoke out, if you just want to do something different besides what everybody else is doing. I wore this purple as a smoke out one day, and I got so many compliments, and being able to mix some of these cooler tones. So she has warm and cooler tones in here, which I really do like, and you cannot ever beat her on transition shades for women of color. That Nana shade, that is simply stunning in the crease. And I'm putting this one right here because I like color, but I like these cooler tones, which are sometimes hard for people to think that we can pull off, but not Juvia's Place. She believes that we can pull it off, and I do too. So the next palette is the Deuce or Dose by Juvia's, however you pronounce that. I don't get a lot of use out of this palette, but I like this palette. I really do. And that's why I couldn't put it dead last, because I have used quite a few of these shades to be intermingled with some of the other palettes. And I think that's another thing. All of her stuff to me seems to be very complimentary. And I think she just keeps stepping it up by doing things. Look at that. That in this, oh, that in the outer crease. Yes, that would have been stunning. But yeah, for me, what she does in this particular palette is gives us a chocolate brown, a true, I don't know if I got room to swatch. And when I say her mattes play so well on the skin, they just do. They're not, to me, she just doesn't make it hard for you to be able to work with her eyeshadows. Sometimes, yes, you may have to build some things up, but that's sometimes with some of the most expensive. But I think the ability for it to blend out is key, and I am here for all of this right here. I am. I'm the Eastery of it all. Yes. And that duochrome right there, that is one of the prettiest shades she has in this palette. Okay, so I was kind of last on the bandwagon to get, I can't really show you guys the Nubian, what is this, the Nubian 2. I'm gonna try to hold it like this because my shade up here is cracked, and that is actually one of the prettier shades to me. These are, it's only, this is not a bad palette, but I don't find myself reaching for it like I thought I would be. That Cleopatra shade, that Jezebel shade, that Egypt shade, and this, oh my God, these shades, the shimmers in here are stunning. But I don't find myself reaching for this palette as often, so that's the only reason why it is closer to the end. If sometimes I just want to remember why I like Juvia's Place, I will pull out her older palettes and start to use them, and then I always say, what was I thinking? This is beautiful. Like that blue, ooh, that's worth every penny. So if you get this palette, that blue and that green, oh my God, this whole little smoke section right here is just really worth it. Okay. So that's why this is kind of toward the end, because I don't never remember. Okay, so this is gonna be a little unfair to me, but my least favorite and the last one in this ranking is going to be the Nubian by Juvia's Place. I think this was her older palette, her very first palette. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't find myself reaching for it, but this shade up here in this corner, this duochrome shade, that thing is pretty. Especially if you want to try to trick your eyelids into thinking you've done a lot of work when you haven't. So you could actually go over the whole lid with that shade and then go in with this shade down here and kind of blend it into that, and it will look like you did 3 different shades when you actually have only done 2. A little tip there. But yeah, not my favorite, but it's still not a bad palette. It's just not something I find myself reaching for. So that's kind of why it becomes the last. And this was probably, I picked this up later on. I didn't pick this up. I think my very first palette from Juvia's Place may have been, oh God, I don't remember. I have to go back in my videos and figure out which one was her very first one. I was gonna say the bigger pan palette was my very first one, and it may have been. And then from there, I have become a collector and a lover of Juvia's Place. I think she is divine. She doesn't have a clue as to who I am, but and she doesn't have to. I'm just saying, for the people that watch me, you guys know that we are trying to turn this thing around about the concept and perception of especially women of color and makeup, and you know, over 40, all of that's playing a big major role into why I kind of do my channel, and why I kind of just go there sometimes, because I want us to really believe in the power of us, not necessarily in the power of makeup, but just in the power of you and your abilities and what you can bring to the table, as far as, you know, being able to not be so fearful of what people say we should be afraid of. Like, we shouldn't be wearing color. None of that really matters. Who's listening to those people? But anyway, let me know your thoughts. You know, give me your ranking. How would you have ranked her palettes? I think I got all 13 in. Yes, and you guys know I use her blush palette all the time. I don't have the lighter one. This is definitely the one for darker skin tones. And this combination right here, baby, or this combination as a blush, if you want to contour afterward, yes, I'm here for it. So that's a bonus. So y'all let me know what you think. I had so much fun talking to you guys today, and I am gonna post this eye look. You guys saw me adding stuff as we sat here, and that's what I do. I kind of just keep, whenever I just see a little something, I just kind of try to correct it where I see it's not, you know, looking right to me. But anyway, I really appreciate you all asking me for this video. Yeah, that was kind of tough for me. I'm just gonna be honest. Just because this is very difficult, because now I started intermingling a lot of her palettes to be able to get some of the looks done. So let me know your thoughts. Did you like this? Is there anything else you want me to rank, or anything else you want to see from me? Definitely let me know. And then I will definitely get this video posted for this eye look. It was really, really simple. I only used 3 eyeshadows. And then y'all saw me add some pop, you know, some little shimmer down here at the bottom. All right, until the next time I see y'all in the next turn. Thanks, YouTube. Bye-bye.